a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hitting cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Karagita, all my friends and relatives in four directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You are right, Dega. This portion of the show is supported by Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon.
Yeah, hey, we have our friend Kevin Abourezk, and he is deputy manager, editor of ICT News, and we've asked him to come on and talk a little bit about the holidays. And I'm wondering if you and Haley can have a quick discussion on the holidays. We really appreciate you coming in.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Yes, thank you, Kevin. So Kevin Abourezk is of Rosebud Sioux, and you are the deputy managing editor for ICT News. We've had just a lot of allies and a lot of people kind of reaching out to see how they can support us during this holiday and this holiday of Thanksgiving, which maybe some of us refer to as Thanks-taking. I know, Dega, that's probably your favorite word to use. But yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit about what Thanksgiving means to us and kind of the thoughts that come to mind when we think about this holiday.
Sure, that sounds good. Appreciate you having me, first of all, and it's always good to join Native Roots Radio, and happy to share some thoughts. I guess to start off, I would just say that I don't think of Thanksgiving as a time to recognize the 1621 feast between the English settlers and the Wampanoag people. And the reason is because of what happened after that, correct? I mean, it's this feast, and I know there's some conflict or some controversy over the feast and whether it happened and kind of the details of it. But, if you are to believe there was such a feast, in any case, it was followed by centuries of forced relocation, cultural assimilation, removal of Native children from their homes and into Catholic boarding schools, broken treaties, murder of Native people, massacres like Sand Creek and Wounded Knee. So when I think about that kind of, cultural exchange, if it actually happened, and it was then followed by what I would describe as one of the greatest betrayals in world history, that's not something I want to celebrate. That's not something that I want to commemorate in any way. And I don't, Thanksgiving for me, it has become a time to celebrate more than anything the fact that that we as Native people are still here, that we still exist on these lands, and that in many ways our culture is thriving. Our people are finding new ways to become economically self-sufficient, and our children are finding hope again, in the future. And so these are things that I celebrate. This is what I think of, when I think of Thanksgiving. I think about my family. I think about, my community and what all these things mean to me and how thankful I am for them. But I don't think about that 1621 dinner.
Yeah, well, it's a good time to have dinner and have family and be thankful for your family. But all those things, I always like calling it Thanks-taking, and I joke about that. But it's a real thing, Kevin. I mean, there's a lot of trauma that's handed down, and from me being a young person and seeing all these kind of things that are disturbing and growing up with. There's a little bit of trauma with us older people too.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. And, we talk about intergenerational trauma and just kind of, the fact that our children are are born into this, realizing what was taken from us, what we lost over the generations. It's something that we're just simply born into, and we carry forth each generation. Even my children, I live off a reservation now, and you wouldn't think necessarily that my children would be experiencing this loss that our people suffered, but they do. They know. I mean, because they tell them, because I educate them, these types of things, and just because I think we carry it in our bones. I think we carry it in our blood. I think to some extent, this trauma we've experienced is indelibly a part of us, and it's just passed along as we go along.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is in our blood. And yeah, we do feel it, and we hear all the stories of what happened. And I think too, maybe learning about, your specific states, tribes, and learn their history, and maybe learn your treaties that, were broken where you live or where you reside, and learn that history and take time to remember all of the things that happened in the past and haven't been talked about. From someone, how would someone go about, maybe who was raised doing a traditional Thanksgiving? So like myself, I have family members on my mother's side who are European descent, and they do a very traditional Thanksgiving, and this is how it's been the whole time I've grown up. And for someone who would like to maybe decolonize themselves a little bit, what would you suggest someone does to maybe do things a little differently this year or going forward in a good way?
Sure. It's a good question. One of the things I always suggest to people who ask this question or something similar is just first of all, get to know the place where you live. Find out who are the original inhabitants of the land you now call home, where you work. Learn about these tribes. Who were they? How they live? Where are they today? A lot of times these tribes have been removed, especially if we're talking about, cities and other, urban places. Almost inevitably, the tribes that lived on those lands have been placed somewhere else. So get to know, where they are today, and start to find ways to honor, and not just through land acknowledgments either. Just find other ways to reconnect to these people, reconnect them perhaps to their land. There's all kinds of ways that you can help out Native people besides just giving, a simple land acknowledgement or something like that. You can pay to an honor tax in some places. You can essentially pay a tax to the people who once lived on the land you call home. And these type of things are popping up all over. You see them in Minnesota, Minneapolis. We see them in the Bay Area. Oregon, the Portland area, I believe, has one as well. So these things are popping up all over more and more each year. And there are plenty of other ways to help Native people. In the sort of ultimate thing you can do to think about is give some land back, or find some way to get your community to give back some part of what their ancestors took from us. I always heard this story. Well, I heard this story not long ago about this Native elder who had spoke at a conference out east, and he talked about land back and this movement that's going on. And somebody in the audience afterward came up to him and said, "Well, why should I have to pay the price for my grandfather stealing a horse from your people, your ancestors?" And the elder responded, and he said, "Well, you still have the horse." To me, that always sort of encompasses. We hear that a lot, right? Like, why should I have to pay for my ancestors' sins? Well, you're benefiting from those sins today. You continue to benefit from those sins. So.
Absolutely. Hey, we're here with Kevin Abourezk and Haley Cherry, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back.
Stay with us.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex. Recording sexual acts without permission. Hurting someone because of their sexual orientation. Raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger. Purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a go-to card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Hi, I'm Claudia with MinSure, Minnesota's official health insurance marketplace. With MinSure, you can compare health plans from multiple companies and get free help from a trusted expert. Whatever health plan you choose with MinSure, it's guaranteed to cover essential benefits, so you can get the care you need. See if you qualify for discounts, available only through MinSure. If you need quality, comprehensive health insurance, get started now at minsure.org.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we're here with Kevin Abourezk, and we really appreciate Kevin coming by, and he's the deputy manager editor of ICT News. And Haley and Kevin are talking a little bit about our holiday coming up here, and it's ironic that Friday will be Black Friday. We go from Thanksgiving to Black Friday, and it's sometimes we're talking about it's sometimes, Haley, a hard time for us this time of year.
Absolutely. Well, Friday, I don't even see that as Black Friday anymore, because in my mind, that is Native American Heritage Day. So I celebrate that, and I know in my family we will be doing our own little native take on Thanksgiving, and we're going to be doing our own meal with our native traditional dishes in our family. So I'm looking forward to that. But yes, we are here with Kevin Abourezk, and he is the deputy managing editor for ICT News, and we're just chatting about the holiday coming up and the long weekend that we're all looking forward to. And I'm hoping, Kevin, that we can share maybe, I don't know what you guys do in your family, but I'm hoping we can kind of just share some alternatives and what we do instead in Native families during this holiday.
Sure. Yeah, one of the things that we have done, this is going to be a little different this year, but, what we've done in the past is, gather as a family, and we just go around the table and talk about, what we're thankful for. And that's something that is kind of a tradition in our family, really, about every night. But this is always a special time of year to just think about that. I think, being grateful is something that's important to do, and something important to pass along to children. One of the things I typically do as well, though, the day before Thanksgiving, I almost always go to Sioux City, Iowa, and there's a march there that a good friend of mine, the late Frank Lemire, would host every year, called the March for Lost Children. And this is a march held, just to honor all of the children who've been lost in the foster care system. So I'll typically attend that, and oftentimes I'll even report on it for whatever news publication I'm working for at the time. And I'm not going to be able to make it this year, unfortunately, but that's
in Iowa,
one
you
part
said?
of my tradition.
Is that, how far is that town from the Twin Cities, would you say, in Iowa?
Oh, I would guess around 4 hours, maybe. I'm not exactly sure.
Maybe you can too, Kevin, remind everyone about Frank, the great Frank Lemire too. I know he passed on a few years ago, and he's our Ho-Chunk Winnebago relative. That'd be great to hear a little bit background on him, that he's gone but not forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Frank Lemire was a longtime Native American activist from the Winnebago tribe of Nebraska. He worked for years to really try to address, I guess, the removal of the mass removal of Native children from Native homes and into non-Native families, I guess, in Iowa primarily, but all over. That was one of his big pushes. He was a Democratic Party activist for many years, established the Native American Caucus within the Democratic Party, and served as vice chairman of the Nebraska Democratic Party. One of his greatest accomplishments, though, was I would say he was one of the key people who helped shut down the beer stores in White Clay, Nebraska.
Yeah.
White Clay was a little, border town to the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, and White Clay, Nebraska was where four beer stores sold about 4 million cans of beer to the Pine Ridge Reservation, which is dry. And Frank was a key person who helped shut those beer stores down.
Yeah, and I was able to go to the Frank Lemire presidential caucus with all the presidential candidates, and got to know met his daughter and got to meet his whole family, and what a rock star he was in all the Native community, not just Ho-Chunk, Winnebago.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he was just one of the greatest orators I've ever known in Indian country, and just had a way of connecting to people that few people really have. He just always spoke from the heart. He always would, just get to know everybody in the room and get to know them very well. And just one of those kind of once in a generation kind of leaders, I think, for the Winnebago people, and really all of us here in Nebraska. So.
Yeah, Haley. He was an amazing person. He's one of our relatives.
Well, the more you know. I mean, we have some really cool relatives, don't we, Digga?
Yeah, we sure do.
Well, yeah, I know probably I want to do something a little bit different this year. I don't know if anyone else has done this, but I would like to go. I'm a big hiker. I like the trails around here, my county trails or state parks. I would really like to go. I don't even know if it's allowed, but can we smudge the land? Can we smudge a trail? Can we walk and do something like that? Because, I think it's not only us that has been affected by colonialism and all of this, but also the nature in our plants. And I think they feel it too, honestly. And I would just like to give back to them and heal them a little bit and let them know we're still here with them.
Smudging and dropping tobacco are really, really good things. And remember, Ho-Chunk with the flat cedar. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that'd be a great thing to do, to honor the land, honor, what we take from the land, I think is always important to do as well. So anything we can do as far as that goes is always a good thing.
Yes, I would love to incorporate some music too. I think just really incorporating yourself and your family and the culture, and not just thinking about the pain and the trauma that comes with it during these specific holidays, but also thinking about our wins and how we are thriving now, and how we can overcome the generational trauma and bring back the generational healing. So yeah, and Native American Heritage Day, so a great day to be with family and relatives.
Yeah, before we get going, Kevin, I'd really love you to be able to tell our audience how they can read what you are the editor of, and how people can get in touch with you and check it out.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. I work for ICT News, formerly Indian Country Today. The website is ictnews.org. And if you'd like to find my work, you can just search my name, Kevin Abourezk. I actually just wrote a story this week about the need to move beyond land acknowledgements and include a number of ways that people can help out Native people, give back to the communities that their ancestors took so much from. So, thank you.
Yeah, and we agree. We joke around a lot that the land acknowledgement is not for us. We know whose land it is. It's for our white allies and people out there. And then there's more to it that people can do, like you said earlier in the first segment, that we could possibly give us some land back. Right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, Haley, do you got any more questions for Kevin? Because I know he's a plethora of a lot of information here.
Well, I was just thinking, I think I was reading something off ICT News, or maybe it was you guys, but the gerrymandering in North Dakota. Did you see the different, the relocation of the territories for voters?
I know just a brief bit about that, but not enough to really speak in depth about it. I apologize.
Well, that's no problem. We feel bad though because our friend Ruth Buffalo got gerrymandered right out of her seat, but she's still doing great work and stopping by Native Roots Radio every once in a while and giving us an update on what she's doing. But it was sad to see that happen. But now I don't know, Haley, what the courts can do now. The election's over and slapping people on the hands or changing back the original boundaries. I don't. What did the article say? Do you know?
It just said, and sorry, this was from the Native American Rights Fund. This was an article from November 17th. The title is "Victory: Court Blocks North Dakota Voting Map That Discriminated Against Native Voters." So, a federal judge ruled that North Dakota's legislative maps discriminated against Native voters by denying them an equal voice in our democracy. The ruling comes after the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians, the Spirit Lake Tribe, and individual Native voters challenged the maps under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act for illegally diluting the Native vote. So, if you look at the election results in North Dakota, I think that is very clearly visible.
Great.
Yeah, Kevin, it's just we're not surprised. Our neighbors, Wisconsin, are gerrymandered unbelievably. We just got to keep on bringing up this news and the great job that your organization and prior organization do about keeping us updated. We really want to give a big shout out and an appreciation of the work you've been doing for years and years and years.
No, I appreciate that, really. Just briefly, though, I'd say that, gerrymandering affects us, too, here in Nebraska. The Winnebago tribe itself was redistricted out of what was once a pretty heavily Democratic district where they had a lot of weight, a lot of pull, and moved into a largely conservative district where, their votes are just kind of being lost. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much. And Haley, great job as always. Really appreciate you guys. Kevin Abourezk, Deputy Manager Editor of ICT News, stopping in. Thank you so much, Kevin. Have a great long weekend. Hoa.
Thank you.
Hey, we'll be right back, Haley, right after this short break.
Yeah, stay with us. Up next, we are back, and we're excited to welcome back Nancy Beaulieu of Leech Lake.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a go-to card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Back to school season is here. And while this is an exciting time for parents, kids, and educators, let's not forget how far we've come in our battle against COVID-19. We're in a better place, but COVID-19 is still here, and we need to continue to help protect our communities. With the flurry of new schedules and classrooms, let's not overlook the fundamentals of staying safe. Wash your hands regularly and watch for any symptoms like fever, chills, a cough, or shortness of breath. Should you or someone you know have COVID-19 symptoms, stay home and get tested. Find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us. Let's have this back-to-school season be a time of renewed commitment to our collective health and brighter future for our Native communities. Again, find more tips on continuing to be safe at health.state.mn.us.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Hi, I'm Claudia with MinSure, Minnesota's official health insurance marketplace. With MinSure, you can compare health plans from multiple companies and get free help from a trusted expert. Whatever health plan you choose with MinSure, it's guaranteed to cover essential benefits, so you can get the care you need. See if you qualify for discounts, available only through MinSure. If you need quality, comprehensive health insurance, get started now at minsure.org.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clouds clear out tonight with a low of 26, then on Wednesday, sunshine with a high of 47. Make this holiday season extra magical with an Eat Local Minnesota restaurant or food purveyor. Perfect for all occasions from family to friends to work gatherings. Visit eatlocalminnesota.com to see the list of restaurants and food purveyors.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1, U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by J.S. Bean Factory off Randolph Avenue in St. Paul. Check them out at juststevesbeanfactory.com.
Hey, we love Just Steve's. I love that Steve's blend, too. It's awesome. Hey, we are here with Nancy Beaulieu, and who we like to call our water protector relative here. And it's really great to see you. I got to just grab the applause here, Nancy, and put it on there. It's been a while. It's great to see you. You're looking good. Thank you so much for coming on. And how the heck are you?
Well, Robert, I'm doing just great. I was kind of thinking this was an opportunity to show off my new shirt to you.
Oh, you know how I am with shirts.
Yeah, your boy heart, and it even has a little logo here of my tribe, Leech Lake. So all of our listeners tuning in tonight, I'm Nancy Beaulieu, formerly of Minnesota 350, and I'm really excited to announce that I'm a co-founder of a new org we just recently started, and we have our 501c status, we have our EIN, we have all the administrative work done, and what we're working on right now is creating our website and our opening up our bank account. And I also want to give a shout out to Indian Collective for giving us our first grant. And the name of our org is, and forgive me if I slaughtered a little bit, I'm learning how to speak, but I can only get better, right?
Right.
It's Ndazi Onji Anishinaabe We Young, and it stands, or actually translates to, where the Anishinaabe go to be themselves.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's really critical as we how we need to present ourselves and how we need to live in a way that was meant for us. And I think, where the Anishinaabe go to be themselves is simply just being Anishinaabe in a sugar bush and having that right to be there, that right to exist. So moving into Thanksgiving, I want people to really, mindset. We need to re-indigenize. I hear the word colonialism so much, and it's like, let's not bring ourselves there too much. We want to revisit who we are, move past land acknowledgments to reassert who we are and claim space and protect our culture and our way of being.
Absolutely, and it's great to see you. You look great, you sound great, and we've missed you here on Native Roots Radio, and it's great because we're treaty people, and I know your work on treaty these past few years are really still needed up there, and still you are still working on it. So it's great to have you back.
Right. And you know what, Robert, we really never went anywhere. Just kind of,
Oh, from my
got.
show, I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm really excited to be here. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here. And again, part of the work that we do is for, the treaty, the 1855, most importantly, I'll speak to right now is that not once during any treaty signing did we ever surrender our right to hunt, fish, gather, and occupy in ceded territory. So take, for example, the sugar bush they wanted to cut down. We went down, we did a sugar bush, and DNR was wondering if we were there to protest and get a citation. And I was like, no, we're just being Anishinaabe in a sugar bush. And that isn't a crime at all. So what we need to do, again, is just find the strength and the courage to go out into these places and bring your family, your community, and reclaim those spaces, in a good way, and do sugar bush, do Monoman camps, whatever it be, collecting medicine, collecting berries, and hold space. And so a big part of our new org is to continue the work that we do, asserting our treaties and ceded territory, and protecting our natural resources. And right now, we know here in the state of Minnesota, our Monoman is under a threat right now, and because of climate change. And that Monoman is so important to us. It's a part of who we are. It's in our DNA, and it's our first food and our last food that we'll eat, as we enter this world and as we journey. So again, I think the work that we do is only a testament of how resilient we are. And we want to inspire other people to show up and do the good things, And I think the biggest part about, being in this movement and being present is learning our way, those teachings as well. Because, coming home from Standing Rock, I was just a res girl, didn't know hardly anything, in regards to our culture. And I think it helped bring me back to my roots and understand, those teachings and why they're important to us. So a big thing is, that community and individual responsibility. How do we show up? How do we walk with good hearts, and how we show up with good intentions? And so in our new org, we have a community agreement, and that community agreement really protects everybody that's in that space, and it creates a place where we feel heard, respected, and having difficult conversation when things aren't going so well, because again, we're stronger together. And Robert, I've said this many times, when we stand together, we don't stand alone. So I think working on that community agreement, learning from the past and what we can do better, moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy, and we really appreciate the hard work, Nancy, that you've been doing, and it's so needed, and I'm glad you're still doing it. And I know we've missed you here on Native Roots Radio, so we're really happy to have Nancy back.
Yes, I know. Well, I was just thinking too, it's so good to see your face. If anyone's watching our stream here on Facebook or YouTube, Yeah, come say hi. Come message. Come comment on here. It's great to see Nancy. I know we have a lot of really great guests, but I always love when we have a great guest who's on that is female. So I always love chatting with you, Nancy, in our conversations. Just kind of touching on Thanksgiving too, and getting back to the good things, and doing things in a good way. Are there any other traditions that you have maybe changed, or maybe made more personal to our culture around Thanksgiving? What are some traditions that you like to do on this holiday?
Actually, I kind of ditched the holiday completely and kind of just going to spend a day beating and reflecting on what I can do to be better at, showing up and building that awareness. Because again, part of our vision is to have community education and awareness in our relationship with our inherent rights and treaties. So I guess, Thanksgiving is just another day to me, but each and every day I have to wake up and be proud that I'm Indigenous, because every day, you know, we do. And I think recognizing the wrongs of this country and trying to figure out what we can do better collectively is a big part of what we do in our space. So we like to empower our communities through education and relationships, and trying to find a way to balance our culture in today's world by utilizing traditional and cultural approaches. So we want to get better at doing this every day, not just on a particular time of the year, or during fall harvest or winter solstice, those kind of things. We want to do this every day, because I think we only get more educated, and we all know that knowledge is power. And I think it's really important that our people understand that the people are the power, that sovereignty is inherent. Collectively, it's our power. And we have to remind the United States that they have that ongoing in perpetuity obligation to honor those treaties. And again, we're going to keep showing up, not just on the front lines. We're going to be in the political arena. I am the director and outreach officer for the DFL organizing unit here in northern Minnesota. And Robert, what was interesting about that interview was they asked me if I identify as DFL, and I said, no, I identify as Anishinaabe, and I'm here because treaties are nonpartisan, and we're going to spoon feed you all on how to be good treaty people. So I think showing up and holding spaces, and in most places where people don't feel comfortable, is the best place to be.
Absolutely, Nancy. Haley, we are so happy to have Nancy back on with it's always been really great energy, Haley and Nancy, right?
Yeah, I always learned so much from Nancy too, kind of just growing up in a family who's carried on maybe the trauma of things and not really the healing traditional stuff. I feel like I just learned so much from you, Nancy. And for some of our listeners, can you just briefly kind of remind them maybe what sugar bushing is?
Well, it's when we come together as a community in this early spring, and we actually set up a camp, and it's a time where we be thankful to the Creator for these gifts that are out there for us. And during that time, I think what's most important, in my experience at Sugarbush, is the sense of community, the sense of healing, and I think that's really important. And a lot of people just look at the end product, the syrup, right? But it's everything, all the love and all the energy and all the sweat that go into that. And I think, when we come into these spaces, it's not just the goal to get syrup, it's to build community and remind ourselves that we are a resilient people, and we're going to continue to exist and protect our natural resources. So we're actually already talking about getting ourselves prepared for Sugarbush. It's only 4 months away, and it's going to come fast.
Yeah.
So when we get the website up, we're going to have links for you guys to come find us, and we're really excited about getting our website launched and calling on our relatives and our allies to continue to hold space with us, and on the front line in a Sugarbush, at a voting poll, Robert, because voting still matters.
Absolutely. And wow, we have less than a year for our presidential election coming up, and then we just had an election. We just got to keep pushing forward and not listen to these polls. The polls are always wrong because, Nancy, they're not interviewing somebody like Haley, who's a Gen Z, who doesn't have a landline and pick up and tell who they're going to vote. It's ridiculous, and we just got to move forward. And you did that great work of Rock the Vote Native Style, and you guys got 9,000 people registered up in all the tribes up there. That was huge in a couple cycles ago, and just a great work and keeping those things in the forefront.
Right. And I want people to understand that we were a diplomatic people before these Europeans showed up, and they actually adopted our way of doing quote unquote government, even though we refer to it as clan system. But again, if you don't play, we're going to lose, and we're going to show up in numbers and vote and protect who we are and continue to build healthy relationships with our elected officials and our relatives who are holding office. So again, show up and remember, your vote is your voice, and collectively we can win. And that's what I thrive for moving into 2024. And Robert, really quick, I know I'm running out of time. We are going to have a table at the state convention next year, a treaty delegation, and Native Roots Radio is invited.
Hey, why don't you stick on for just a little bit longer and haul with us on the next segment, Nancy?
Sure.
Right on. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and Haley and I will be right back with Nancy Beaulieu. Ho-wah.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a go-to card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Be a vaccinative. As the fall season continues, new COVID-19 variants threaten the health of not just you, but our elders as well. These new variants might even evade previous vaccines. That's why it's important to stay up to date. The newly authorized vaccines target current variants effectively and are FDA approved for ages 6 months and older. But there is an important note. These are the first COVID vaccines to be commercialized, which means there may be costs associated with them. Speak with your health insurer about your coverage before scheduling an appointment to avoid a surprise bill. For those without health insurance, help is available. Ask your health clinic about options or visit vaccines.gov for free locations. Getting vaccinated protects you from severe disease. Don't put yourself or elders at risk. So be a vaccinative and protect our community. You can visit vaccines.gov for free vaccine locations.
This message is brought to you in partnership with the Minnesota Department of Health. Unveil the captivating world of native photography at the Minneapolis Institute of Art. Their new exhibit, In Our Hands, Native Photography 1890 to Now, turns the camera around and puts native photographers in control, featuring hundreds of photographs captured by generations of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and Native Americans. You'll view the world through their lens, revealing the beauty and complexity of Indigenous heritage. Don't miss this incredible experience. Visit In Our Hands at the Minneapolis Institute of Art now through January 14th. For more info, visit artsmia.org.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Whoa, I heard you, Nancy. That's right on. Hey, we're with Nancy Beaulieu, one of my favorite water protectors of all time and climate hero. Thank you so much for stopping in with Haley and us, and we only have another day before Thanksgiving is coming up, and so we've been talking about how we're spending it, and Wendy and I are just going to be low key and have some vegan turkey and and take it from there, and just enjoy each other, and not do too many things.
Right. Kind of here too, Robert. And I think, it's going to take some practice and, getting our people to understand why re-indigenizing is important. And, for those of our relatives celebrating Thanksgiving, I don't think of them any less. And
Right.
I just hope that someday, they catch on like, some of us already have. And, so I'm not here to shame anybody for that, but I'm going to spend a day making some beautiful art. And, kind of that's, art is therapy too. And it's really a form of self-expression for me. And it keeps me out of the casino for the most part.
Well, you got to play to win. You got to remember that. You got to play to win.
Yeah. So anyways, just before the show started, WCCO made an announcement, and I didn't get to catch it all, but tomorrow at 7:00, there's a segment on protecting our water in the Monoman. And it's going to talk about what tribes and what groups, what they're doing to protect that. And I put that on my calendar, Robert. I really want to pay attention to that, because these, again, could be allies. We could reach out to them and build on it. And that's why these kind of things are shared with our public, is to build that awareness. And this is a good way to learn the state of our water here in Minnesota, and what is being done to protect the Monoman. Because again, the Monoman is actually one of the first indicators of how the environment is doing. So it kind of foretells the health of the surroundings, and it also sustains our relationship with the Creator.
Absolutely.
And just for our listeners too, when Nancy refers to Monoman, that is our wild rice.
Yes, and we love our wild rice. We're excited, for the upcoming year. I think there's going to be a lot of good things happening. A lot of things, Nancy, that you've been building on as an organizer all these years, and you're so well known across Turtle Island. So I'm excited to see what brings forth in your work. And we're excited to have you back on Native Roots Radio. I know a lot of people love listening to you, and I know we do.
Oh, it's a good feeling to be here, Robert. And I have to say, what's really, really key to our work, it's like, that individual and community responsibility, walking with a good heart, showing up with good intentions, and holding each other accountable. And I think that's key to building healthy relationships along many fronts, not just with our relatives, but with our neighbors, with our elected officials, people that are running for office, our sheriffs, our elected officials on the local, state, and federal level. And I think, again, it's about building that awareness and showing up in peace as the treaty's intended. So again, looking back at Camp Firelight on the Line 3 easement here in northern Minnesota, that was a perfect example how we collectively with our allies held space and honored our treaties. And through our time there, Robert, those 8 days, we actually educated the sheriff of Clearwater County, Darren Halverson, and he was actually on our side. And so now our sheriff in Beltrami County has talked with Clearwater County, and he says, I know you guys are good people, because Darren Halverson says nothing but good things about you guys. And so again, we hope to inspire people, because asserting treaties is not a crime. It's a crime to deny them. And that's what we need to keep having conversations about. And that'll actually help us move past land acknowledgements if we honored those treaties.
Yeah, I like what you say in the past, too, is the treaties are not just for natives, they're for everybody.
Right. Again, I can't stress it enough. We are all treaty people. Their ancestors signed them with our ancestors. And again, back to that thing about the horse in your first segment today, well, I didn't do it. It was my grandpa. Well, if your grandpa taught you the right lessons in life, you're going to understand that taking something is not okay. And you can ask for forgiveness, and you can do right by giving it back, So we have to remind our allies that if they are still benefiting from those treaties, they still have that obligation that their grandparents had, and it doesn't go away, because treaties aren't artifacts. They're breathing documents that still exist. And that's why we work so hard to do what we do here in northern Minnesota, because we want to remind people that we can live in peace and we can create a future where we can all thrive. And we could do that out of mutual respect and self-determination for the tribal nations and our sovereignty as individuals. It's got to count for something. So again, we're going to show up, especially in the political world, and remind them, Robert, that we're still here.
Right. And I think with the way education has been about us natives in particular over the last almost 500 years, it's good that you are out there speaking your truth. And it's good because our white allies out there need to listen to this and hear this too. And they're always excited to learn and come in a good way. So bravo to you and all the work you've done, Nancy. And before we let you go, let our people, because we're all over the country here, let our people know kind of where you're located compared to the Twin Cities.
Oh, I'm a good 4 hours away. Is that how us natives?
By the crow.
Well, I am Leech Lake in northern Minnesota, and I'm a good 4 hour drive from the city, and I am actually close to the Red Lake Nation and the White Earth Nation. So here in our territory, we like to get together and cause good trouble, Robert.
Yes, good trouble. That's right. Hey, Nancy, your new organization, is there a Facebook or anything people can join and listen yet?
That'll be probably in the next 2 weeks, Robert. So, and then when we do have that ready, we're going to actually ask for financial support because we need a little help, moving along. But we have one small grant to help deal with talon mining at Sandy Lake Reservation. And then I think, moving forward, we're going to need some help, to continue the work that we do. But regardless, with or without that money, Robert, we're still going to keep fighting the good fight, and that's who we are, and that's all that matters, really.
Wow. Well, Nancy, I just want to say a big peeny gigi. Thank you so much for coming on, and it's great seeing you again. And till we meet again. Oh, wow.
Oh, what? There you go. All right.
Take it easy. Wow, that was Nancy Beaulieu, and she's our water protector from up north. And what a great segment, Haley. What a great way to have her back and tell us what's going on. New organization, same issues. We'll be having updates again from Nancy and in a good way.
Yes, I know. And there's stuff kicking off too with the Line 3 that, we got to keep a close eye on and pay attention to that. So, yeah, we're very excited to have Nancy back.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so we got a show tomorrow, and then we're going to take the weekend off, and we're going to have, some playbacks, and people at their home can still listen to us. And you can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, all those. And if you want to see what we look like, we're on YouTube, Facebook Live. It's a beautiful thing. Hey, if you're listening to this show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plentycoops, the ground on which we stand on. It's sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, vote. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
And free Leonard Peltier. Now.